What's up, y'all? Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome to the video, welcome to the channel. We have some Evo work to do today, so let's just get right to it. We just got back from a 40-mile drive. That is the longest drive we've been on in this thing, and everything seemed to go super smooth. But we do have, there's like a knocking going on in the right rear on the passenger side there, so I think there's like a bolt loose maybe. It has came loose or whatever, but when I go over a bump, it makes like a little like hitting sound. So I want to check into that, see what's going on there, and then we also got to get this thing legal, and it doesn't have a horn. For some reason the horns won't work, so I want to try a few things with that. And yeah, we're going to add some more sound deadening stuff, and we just got some little knickknacks to do on this thing. So yeah, I'm going to get right to it. I'm going to jack the car up and we'll check out this rear end thing first, and then we can go on from there. Whee! All right, it's on the stands. And seeing as how we just got back a little bit ago, I'm gonna let this thing cool down a little bit more, and we're gonna go under the car and I'm gonna check a lot more things and make sure all the bolts are all tight and good to go. We have those paint lines on everything, so it should be easy to tell if there is one loose. The exciting part about going on that drive was now we are well into the 100-mile break-in area with the drivetrain and all that, so we should be able to, I've already talked to Desmond, and we should be able to throw some sauce at this thing here fairly soon. Right now he's out of state, but whenever he gets back and he has some availability, we are going to be putting some boost to this thing and seeing what she does. All right, let's see here. See, my ball joint is a little loose. The line is like to the left a little bit, so I need to tighten that up and make sure that stays tight. I'll have to keep an eye on that. That bolt there looks a little bit loose as well, like it's moved some. And then the other ball joint also looks loose. Wow. Well, we'll just snug those up and keep an eye on them. Okay, so these ball joints go to 60 foot-pounds plus or minus 4. So I'm going to put them to about 65, and we'll see how that goes. There's 65. I'm gonna have to get an extension. I don't like doing that with a torque wrench because it can mess with the torque spec, but I gotta do what I gotta do, you know what I mean? All right, got the wheel back on. Went ahead and did the other side too, because those bolts over there were also a little bit off. Not as much as those for sure, but went ahead and tightened those up too, a little bit more snug, and yeah, we're good to lower this thing back down and we can move on. Boop. Now I'm just gonna move on to the sound deadening of the doors. I'm just kind of like procrastinating that whole horn thing. I just don't really want to do it, you know what I mean? Woo! It seems so simple, but these little clips are friggin' in there. Oh, I was gonna paint the back side of these doors whenever I do all the interior stuff, but they're really already pretty good. I mean, they got paint pretty far into them already, so, and I mean that, and plus I'm putting sound deadening material over it, so I didn't necessarily want to use the paint for that. All right. You know what, this might take me a second, so I'm gonna jump back whenever I get this thing cut out properly, and then I'll show, that's almost the same size, look at that. I'll show you guys whenever I get this thing traced out and cut out. Okay, so about an hour and a half later, and we got one door done. Here it is, looking all nice and snazzy. We got everything cut out. The door handle there is back in. All the wires are coming through. This wasn't even the most frustrating part. This is difficult as far as like time consuming and all that kind of stuff, but the spring came out of the back of this little handle right here, and that took me forever to get back in there. It's greasy, it's slippery, and so you can't really like squeeze it and get it in there. It's very tight, but yeah, that was a pain in the ass, but got that back in there. But this thing looks super, super nice. I'll show you guys a little bit more about it on the driver's side, but ended up not doing the template with the paper. I tried clear plastic. That was a little bit hard too. It wasn't like thick enough, so it kept moving on me, but we eventually got it all done. Everything is all nice and sealed. So yeah, I'm gonna clean up the door panel and put that back in here for the first time in, I mean, at least 2 years. Get out my favorite stuff, spray away window cleaner. It works super good on interiors. Always have used this stuff. Let's see how, let's see how dusty this is. Oh yeah, these have been just sitting in the office. I've been moving them around the house for the last couple years, and it's been Such a space taker upper. Oh, that looks so good. Seeing that back in the car is rather refreshing. Okay, to the other side. Actually, I should probably test this door before I... God damn. You know what? I bet it's locked. Okay. Whew. Oh, wow. The door feels way, way heavier, which it should. Heck yeah, that feels much heavier. I put like 2 pieces on like the outer door skin itself, and then we did all that stuff on the backside there. But yeah, that's a much better feel. I can't wait to hear how this thing sounds with all of the sound deadening inside of it. It's gonna be awesome. All right, moving on. All right, so this is what I meant by the outer skin part of it. We got one little piece right here that goes to about right here. Then we have some other little small pieces throughout the door there. I'm not sure what that does, but I've seen a lot of people do it, so there it is. So this is what I did last time. I just take a piece like this, and I kind of line it up to the edge. I know that the door pieces go to like the very edge of the door, so I'm not too worried about it keeping it in this little groove line here. And so I put it right here, angled it to where it goes up through there. And then I kind of take a silver Sharpie and trace it and kind of like know where to notch it. And then we slide it up into place here. And this is actually a pretty good piece to use for this section right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and angle this piece right here. We'll notch it from here to about there. We'll come down about like that. We'll cut that and see if that works. I think this is gonna work out right here, so I'm gonna go ahead and make some cuts, and I'm gonna mark where these little screws are, or bolts, and we'll cut those out, and then yeah, I'll pop this thing in, and I'll show you the finished product. Okay, so here's the other door finished. I was just doing a lot of talking, so I thought I'd just cut that out for you. I mean, it really just is laying it in there and trying to cut it out to match the door. Make sure you're not putting the door panel piece like onto it and stuff like that. Make sure all those holes are exposed so those little push pins can go in to hold the door panel on. So I'm gonna go get the other door panel and we'll pop that one in too. Got this one all cleaned up. Plug in the window switch. Boink. I put some little panels of it on the back of this door card as well. It had some sound deadening stuff on it from the factory, that old like carpet looking shit, but get it in there, click it in, there we are. Now all of our little thingies should be clear. Heck yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, now that that is taken care of, I am going to move to the front of the vehicle where we gotta figure out this horn because it won't pass inspection without a horn. Now, for this horn issue, I do not know what is going on with it, to be honest with you. But I read somewhere that if your airbag stuff is not hooked up or something like that, then your horn won't work. I'm not sure why that would be, but we got the battery unhooked, and I'm gonna go through and hook up all the airbags because the airbag for the passenger side was not hooked up, and the 2 sensors in the front of the car are not hooked up. I didn't hook up those ones in the front because they look like complete crap, and then we'll try to put those back on and plug those up and see if this little trick will work, and then if it doesn't, we'll have to figure something else out. Okay, both sensors in the front are hooked up. Both horns are hooked up. The airbag on the passenger side is hooked up. Now let's turn the battery back on and we'll see what happens. I'm gonna spin you guys this way just in case something goes down because I don't know. I've had these sensors in the front unplugged for a while and they've been moved around quite a bit and I don't know what's gonna happen. I hope whenever I turn the battery on, it doesn't like, I don't know how they work. So I may be just overthinking it. But when I turn the battery on, I'm gonna hope that it doesn't like pop the airbags. Whew, okay, the breaker switch has been flipped. Nothing happened. And there's still no freaking horn. Okay, well, I'm gonna go through and check the fuses and the relays again and see, maybe I'm missing something here. Okay, so the fuse is good. The relay goes right here. I took one of these out and put it in this spot and none of those work either. And so I doubt it's a bad relay. When we were putting back in the steering column, I had the steering wheel locked on there before I took it all apart, but we wrestled with that pretty good. And so I think the clock spring might be bad now. I'm gonna go to the store, get that relay, we'll try that, but I don't have high hopes for that working, so we might be ordering a clock spring. All right, we got a new relay, a new fuse just because, and we'll see if this thing works, and no. Not even a hint of a horn. All right, figured that. Well, I guess it is the clock spring. I bought these hella horns to put on the car. I was gonna take this face off, paint it black, and just mount those on there, but that didn't work either as far as what we have set up here now. So I'm thinking maybe I can just hardwire these in to like a switch or a button and have a horn that way. I don't know if that will pass inspection or not though. So I'm gonna take this thing and drive it to the inspection shop, and I'm gonna ask them what would pass. Okay, so just got back from the inspection station, and they said that I could wire this thing up to a switch or whatever as long as it has a horn, a button, something like that. Doesn't matter how it's in there, as long as the car has a horn. And so I guess we're gonna hardwire these hella horns onto the car and see if we can get a honk. Okay, it might look like a mess, but we got everything wired in. We got the horn wired in, everything goes around and down, and we got the relay. It's fused right here. We went and bought a little switch, just a little rinky-dink little push-button switch for temporary use. I'm just trying to avoid ordering a clock spring and waiting for all that stuff. I want to go get the car inspected so we can drive it on the road and not have to worry about anything. But yeah, this should work. So let's put it into the car, and yeah, we'll cross our fingers. We got everything in the car, hitting the switch. Okay, the horn doesn't blare, so that's good. Nothing's crossed. I was having a hard time getting the wire through the firewall, so I'm like, before I do all this, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure. I'm gonna plug everything up and have the wires outside the car, see if it works, and here we go. Fucking nothing. What the world? Okay, let's keep trying. Okay, I have looked at so many videos, and all my stuff looks how it's supposed to be. So I thought maybe it's a bad ground, so I hooked it up front up there. So let's give this one more test and we'll see how it goes. Okay, I did it right. We just had the wrong ground. So I'm gonna make a longer ground wire and we can hook that up, and then the horn is installed and it works. Okay, we got everything ran through the car, and just to make sure I'm not crazy and this actually works at the point I have it grounded at now, there we go. Holy shit, that was a lot of work and a lot of headache for a little honk. I got it mounted right here behind the front wheel, and I think this is a good location because it mounts right there where the old ACD stuff used to be. It's kind of hidden out of the way. I'm still gonna paint that housing black, but I like that location quite a bit. Whew. Okay, so like I said, that was a lot of headache for one little honk, but we had to do what we had to do. Has to get inspected and passed. So got that taken care of. We got the sound deadening in the back. The door panels are back in for the first time in 2 years. I wanted to get a little bit more done on that, but I do think I'm gonna paint the floorboard part of it and like kind of the sides and everything. Not the doors, but I will paint all that in there and the trunk and all that. So I'm gonna hold off on doing all the rest of that stuff. And yeah, I'm just glad we can keep logging miles on this thing. It's super exciting. It still feels weird being able to just get in the car and drive away. Wild. So yeah, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it very much. As always, if you got this far in the video, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think or whatever, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.